Hey everyone, you're listening to Party Time, My Golf Story with Kevin Walsh and whatever special guest he has today. You can check me out on episode 9 of the podcast. Today I'm wearing Grayson clothes while I'm out practicing because I believe in look good, play good. And follow me on Instagram, Sophia Warren Golf, and hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers. And the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Vizzacaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com. Now here's your host, Kevin Walsh.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the program. Peter Finch is our guest. I caddied for him about a month ago in Central Florida. He is the well-known golf influencer, huge presence on YouTube, on Instagram. He is also a swing coach. He's a hell of a player. I can tell you that. I saw that up close. Also has a podcast as well. He is Mr. Golf in a lot of ways, and he's just a dapper fellow on top of all that. He's going to be joining us from England in just a short time. Hey, before we go any further, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, would you do so, please? That makes a big difference to our sponsors and also helps with all the algorithms on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all the above. All that stuff matters. Big thanks to our title sponsor, Party Drinks. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course and you're tired of beer, crappy seltzers, everything's reversed on TV. Try a Party. For golfers, by golfers, absolutely spot on. You will love it. If golf real estate is in your plans, nobody better than the golf real estate pros at suncoastdreams.com, a division of fine properties in the greater Sarasota area and based at Lakewood National Golf Club. Gene Walsh, Samantha Walsh, and Vince Vizzacaro have you all set. And if all that golf has you tuckered out and you need a day to unwind at the spa, go to Violet Spa in downtown Sarasota. All right, so that's that. Let's bring Peter Finch on board. Hey, man, good to see you again.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing, mate? You're good?
I'm doing good, man. I like the setup behind you. What's going on? Tell me about the office, the man space, the studio, whatever that is you have there.
Well, I mean, this is so we've got a few rooms in a mill in Manchester, and well, this side's kind of like a bit of a backdrop to the podcast, but as you can see by the rest of the room, it's in absolute shambles at the moment as we are moving. We are moving offices. We are going the grand distance of about 20 meters down. So we are completely gutting this place out. It's quite a stressful time.
I like a little disorder. I like a little chaos behind the scenes and everything, because I think people often wonder, well, what is the setup? Now, if I can mimic what you just did there, I'll kind of show you around my place here. So I got this bookshelf behind me. All right. And so I'm in the corner. This is an upstairs bedroom, and there's my light. Okay.
Classic.
That's my grand setup there, Peter. I mean, pretty much in the end, it just all comes down to me. But that's what good broadcasting is, right? It comes down to the people and the content. Would you agree with that?
I would say so. I would say the backdrop is secondary to the individual or individuals fronting the backdrop.
It's totally true. Hey, listen, I love your stuff, and I want to get into that. Well, let's start with Padraig Harrington. Is he not just a treasure to golf? Is he not God's gift to golfing people and people that like a little Irish wit and a little bit of humor? What's your backstory with Padraig? And then we'll lead up to the match in which you guys carried your own bags.
It was interesting, really, because what we've tried to do over the past few years is get access to different professionals and different people within golf through their manufacturers. So I wasn't signed to a manufacturer at the time, and it was Wilson who approached us and said, we have days in the diary with Padraig, but we don't really have anything to do with those days. So we said, okay, well, let us take him for that day. He's obviously playing Wilson clubs. We can chat about kind of what they're doing with Wilson. And then in return, we get to spend the day with Padraig, get a couple of videos filmed. And he was he was everything that I expected and just a little bit more, because I think with Podrick, like I grew up watching him, he's been around the professional game forever. And to finally play with him, to someone that you've seen just only on TV, someone who you've cheered on in Ryder Cups, it was quite a surreal moment. And to film with him is, if I'm being honest, it was literally the easiest filming day I think we've ever had, because all you need to do with Podrick is just poke him in like a general direction. Just give him a subject to talk about and bang, half an hour, done. Like it was, I think in those entire videos, I might have spoken, I don't know, maybe about 40 words. And the rest was just him, just off, just talking about all these golfing tangents. It was amazing. Filmer's dream.
I remember seeing an interview with him one time, and I was so impressed by something that he said that was so profound. The interviewer asked him about golfers and being special, and he said it in such a way that if you saw it in print, it would look arrogant. But when you heard him speak it and you saw his body language, it just made all the sense in the world, and it was so endearing. He said, "We're special. We know we're special. Of course we're special." And then he went on, but that's kind of how he is at all times. He's very humble by nature, but insightful and tells you something you need to know. Yes?
Yeah, I mean, he is. He's one of the guys who, certainly from the professional game, from a tour professional standpoint, who actually is deeply knowledgeable about the game, who thinks about the game a lot. I contrast him, let's say, with another Irishman, let's say with Shane Lowry, who we've done a little bit of filming with. And, I've been around him when he's been doing stuff for magazines. Like back in the early days, this was before I think he might have just turned professional, and we were doing a bit of filming together. And he was with Golf Monthly, and they were trying to do an article on how to shape shots, so draws and fades. And Shane was he was kind of looking at him like, well, if I want to draw it, I aim a bit right and I draw it. And if I want to fade it, I'll aim a bit left and I'll fade it. And then you can see the journalist being like, well, we're not going to make an article out of that, are we? Like, how do you do it? And Shane's like, I don't know, I'll just do it. And then you contrast that with Harrington, who would give you the insight and the details and the data and all the swing mechanics and all the numbers that you need to produce on launch monitors to get whatever shot is required. And he's just a very deeply analytical thinker by nature about golf, kind of similar to Justin Rose in many respects. And I think with Podrick, what he did, I mean, Podrick inadvertently not inadvertently, but he helped me and my game, long before I ever met him. He was one of the professionals very early on who was very much into, golf psychology and how the mind works on the golf course. And when I turned pro originally, I had literally just crippling first tee nerves. I just could not get over them at all, no matter what I tried. I remember reading an article that he'd written about it that just completely transformed my understanding of what kind of nervousness and anxiety and those feelings that you get on the golf course are. And he basically said that when you're on the first tee or when you're on the golf course and when you get nervous, which inevitably you will do, especially if you're playing in competition golf, the feeling of anxiety and the feeling of pressure and the nerves, don't fight it. Actually recognize the fact that you are feeling nervous, that's perfectly natural. And actually, rather than trying to push it away, bring it in and let it pass through and let it, come into you. And you don't have to hold on to the feeling. And that switch of not fighting nerves, but actually allowing yourself to be nervous and understanding why you're nervous was just completely mind-blowing to me at the time. This is when I was 18, 19. So
it's profound because it probably felt like he was speaking directly to you. Like what he was expressing were the feelings that you had, and then gave you a way to work through it. That reminds me of something Tom Pernice Jr. said years ago, where he was struggling with his golf game. And when I was in college playing golf at Purdue, and I was struggling with my golf game, he said something. He said, I had no idea how much my self-esteem was wrapped up in my golf game. If I played badly, I felt like I was a bad person. And then he had the aha moment. He's like, wait a minute. My family loves me. My dog loves me. It has nothing to do with my golfing ability. And his words were my exact thoughts and feelings. And that turned me around the corner. And it kind of sounds like that's what Padraig said to you. And the fact of the matter, tell me if I'm wrong, Peter, is all the game's greats. Everybody's nervous. So once you realize that everybody's nervous, you shouldn't feel badly feeling nervous yourself. It's natural.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost, I certainly had the mindset when I was growing up, when I turned pro, that all these guys who were playing better than me and who were performing in events, in my head, they were performing well because they weren't nervous, like because they'd managed to conquer the nerves. Whereas in fact, it became apparent, the older I get, the older I get, the more I realized that, those nerves never go away for anybody. It's just they found a way to, become friends with those nerves, to actually use them in a positive way rather than to scare them and cause a flight tendency. So yeah, it was good. I'm still not quite there with Tom Panise's wise words. I played badly the other day and spent yesterday moping about what a failure I am at life. So maybe I'm not there yet. My dog definitely looked at me a little bit differently last night. I knew it. It was a shame.
That's not true. That's not true. You walk in the door, your dog thinks you're a hero just for the fact that you walked in. But let those words sink in. I mean, just think deeply on that, and I think you'll turn the corner and you'll join me and Tom Pernice.
Kevin, it was bad. It was. Really
no,
bad.
I understand.
I played really bad, like bad enough to really question myself and what I'm doing with my life. It was tough. It was tough.
No, I understand that in the moment and shortly thereafter, but at some point, if it's lingering through the night, you got to let it go. All right, let it go. Let me free you up. There's your absolution. It's just like you went to confession with Father Kevin here.
Thank you, Father Kevin. I appreciate that.
Peter Finch is our guest here on Party Time. My Golf Story is a well-known golf influencer. Give him a follow on YouTube. You'll be glad you did. Golf instructor, golf coach, been around the game for forever. And I was on his bag about a month ago in Central Florida, and it was a whale of a time. So back to the Padraig thing. You guys decided to carry your own bags, which I thought was cool. No caddies available that day. What was going on?
No, I think, we filmed it we filmed it at a place called the European Club, which is in Ireland. It's not a million miles away from Dublin, just a bit outside. And it's actually been sold now, but the owner of that golf club was an absolute wild card. Like, there's no caddies. I don't think there was any trolleys at the time. We couldn't drone the place for the video because he was scared of climate activists looking at the coastal erosion on some of the cliffs. It was a lovely guy, but it was the most random time. So yeah, we slung our bags and we headed off. But I think with Padraig as well, he's, and in all fairness, most tour pros who I've played with and filmed with, they're all just normal. They're all just normal blokes. It's not, they're more than capable, more than willing just to sling a bag on the back and walk around 9 or 18 holes. It's not a big deal. I think some people get an overstimulated view about what professional golfers are actually like. They're just mostly normal people who are a little bit weird, because you have to be a pro golfer, and are just really good at golf. Really good at golf.
I thought it was darling, and carrying your golf bag is like riding a bike. You never forget how to do it. I especially liked when you were at Harbor Town and had Matthew on the bag there. I played Harbor Town. My God, it's been almost 30 years. Well, more than 30 years since I played it, and it brought back so many memories. And he was a fantastic caddy, by the way. And it seemed like you depended on him quite a bit. Tell me about Harbor Town and why you thought it was so cool. I mean, I could tell. And you played nicely. Didn't quite get it even par.
No, I fell one short. But it was so I played Harbourtown once before, and it was a similar day in respects that the first time I played it was really windy. It was a little bit earlier in the year, and we were coming down the last couple of holes, and it was almost dark, and I felt a bit. What's the word? I felt like I didn't quite have the full experience of Harbourtown, so I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. You know, I didn't. It was a good course, but it didn't really leave that much of a lasting impression on me. This time, when I played it, it was still as windy, but it was warm and it was sunny, and we came down the last hole, and it was this beautiful sunset, and I've hit a great drive. I've hit, I would say, potentially one of the best shots that I've ever hit in my life on the approach into that hole, because it was. I very rarely do you consistently go through, say, like visualization on your pre-shot routine, where you see the ball flight, where you actually see it. You can. I think when a lot of people talk about visualization, they look at the target and they'll see kind of what they want to do with the shot, but the image isn't, embedded. It's not burned onto the conscious mind. Over that second shot, I could see it. I could see the ball flight. I could see exactly what I wanted to do. I could see where I wanted to pitch it. I could see how it was going to spin and move towards the flag. And I just hit it perfectly. It was just like it was bringing into reality this shot that I'd imagined, and it got on the green and I birdied it. And I'll never, ever, ever, ever forget like how that looks. Even now I can like pull it straight to the front of my mind. Oh, yeah. And it was just perfect. And I will remember that shot whenever I want to hit a little draw with an 8-iron. That is something I will pull up in my memory, the feeling of that. And the whole day was great. That cemented it as a brilliant day in my mind. And then Matt, who was caddying, like literally straight away from the first tee, it was just it was a great caddy, but it was just a great vibe. It was kind of like,
yeah.
Best way of describing it was, I felt like we became friends very quickly.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. You go to some places and like you have some experiences like you guys over at kind of Stream Song, you and G. It was just a great day. The vibes were great, and it was just a really lovely round. And it was that kind of thing. You go to some places and you have some caddies and you don't quite have that kind of instant connection. You still have a good day, but with Matt, it was like bang, it was like straight away. And I messaged him last night actually because I want to try and find out if he's playing US Open qualifying. Because if he's not, I'm going to try and get him to New York to caddy for me, because I think he might be in the area ish.
Well, that's cool, and he might be mistaken for Scotty Scheffler, as you pointed out on the podcast. He does have a bit of resemblance to him. Peter, take me back to where it all started. When did golf enter your life?
It was. I only really started playing properly when I was a little bit older than a lot of people. So I certainly who want to turn pro. So I think I really only started playing when I was 13, 14. So I was always more into my football, my soccer. And it was, I played, I was okay as a kid. And, my dream was always to like be a pro footballer. And, I started playing golf around 13, 14 and got relatively decent-ish, like lows, maybe like 10, 11 kind of handicap by the time I was maybe 15 after only playing for a bit. And I got injured playing football. And it was in that time period where I was kind of missing, I couldn't play either. I couldn't play football or golf. And I was missing golf more than football. And it was kind of like one of those weird moments where I'm like, if I'm actually missing golf more than football here playing, should that be a sign that, maybe I want to try and give golf a go? Maybe I want to do something here. So, at that point, I played again like a couple more seasons. I was okay, but it was apparent that I was never going to be like a pro football player. So I thought, well, you know what, let's give golf a go. Got my handicap down where I could turn and be a PGA pro. And pretty much as soon as I turned 18, started my PGA professional qualification, did that. Was not overly happy in a pro shop environment. So I spent a couple of years away doing journalism. So I was writing for a golf magazine while I was doing my assistant's pro.
Two journalists here. Me too.
I mean, I was. Well, it was a very weird thing. So I was enjoying writing these articles, and I grew up certainly golf wise. Grew up reading golf magazines. It was always something which I thought, man, this would be a cool job. And is there a way to perhaps be a golf pro, be a journalist, try and like combine these two things together? And I did my journalism qualification while I was finishing up my PGA training. And then I worked as a daily newspaper journalist for a couple of years. And it became very apparent that it wasn't for me. It was a very strange situation because I got a job at quite a large news organization in the Midlands of the UK. And I was put as a daily newspaper journalist, and I did everything apart from sport. So it was the one thing which I didn't do, because like the sports team, sports journalists, once they get that job, they never leave, because it is just
somebody has to die, or there has to be some.
Yeah, it's such a great gig.
Wait a minute. So you got stuck doing like Crime and Slime and like all the other drags?
Yeah, I was doing everything, and it was there were some good points, but there were three moments that I remember really vividly, and I was like, the first one, I had to do as far as like journalism go, I had to do a death knock, which for people listening who don't know, it's effectively someone who died. Someone who dies, and you have to go speak to their family or someone closely associated with them to try and get the story about their background, their life, to try and do something. And there was a guy who was a munitions expert who was working with the army, who was in Afghanistan, and he died kind of trying to blow up this stockpile of arms, effectively. And his father was living in the area that I was covering. So I had to go around to his house, and I kind of went there and I knocked, and I kind of spoke to him for a little bit, and it just ended up with him.
Stop for a second.
Yeah.
Did you rehearse your speech before you made the knock multiple times?
Sort of. I didn't really know. I didn't really, because I think this is one of my first ones that I did, and it was a really weird thing. Because it's obviously like, even going up to the door, in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna speak to this person at potentially one of the worst moments of his life. His son's just died. So I'm like, I don't really know what to say. But I spoke to him for a little bit, and then a very short time, we're talking like maybe under a minute, and it became clear that he was just not interested in talking to me. He kind of pushed me up against the fence, and was basically just saying, you get out of my space, kind of thing. And I was like, okay, obviously, yeah, I'm gone. And it was just a bit of a weird one where I'm like, what? It didn't quite trigger in my mind at the time, but I was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing here? Like, this is really weird. And then there's another one just before I switched into kind of another office, where I was kind of running like my own little office down there. The senior reporter was not usually there; he was doing other stuff. And I did an arson case, which was front page of the papers, and it was really weird. I was kind of out there in the middle of the night. This big factory just set on fire, and there was this owner. The owner of the factory was, I didn't know who he was. It was just this guy who was like stood outside this building, and he was just looking like a little bit lost. And I kind of went up to him, just started chatting to him. And he was the owner of the building, and started chatting to him. And this wasn't the first time that this building had been the subject of an arson attack, and I got this whole story, and it was like front page news, and I was like, I got weirdly like excited about it, and I was like, oh, this is a great story, this is fantastic, front page. I was reading that, I was really happy with myself. But again, even in the back of my mind, I was like, this is a bit weird. Like, you're getting really excited about like someone who's just had the literally building burned down. So I was like, this isn't right either. And then I finally had, on like my second year, there was in the area I was covering then, there was a second death knock that I had to do with, it was a kid who was back from uni, who was helping out on a farm, and he fell into a grain silo and effectively drowned in the grain silo. He just couldn't get out. And it was near Christmas. I had to go over to the farmhouse, and I kind of drove into the yard. You can see all the lights in the house were on, and there was snow on the ground. It was kind of sleeting, raining. I pulled into the yard, and there was this dog. There was a dog sat in the farmyard, and it was just looking at me. It was like border collie, like sheepdog, and it was just like looking at me. And I was just looking at this dog, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, what am I actually doing here? Like, this is crazy. This is something which no one should go through, and it's also no one should be knocking on this door right now. So I'm like, I'm done. So I just drove straight back to the office, handed in my notice, and then just got a job at a driving range nearby, back golf coaching. And then finally, I ended up in Manchester. So it's not a million miles away from where I grew up in Preston, where a few of the guys who I went to college with were coaching. And one of those guys who was coaching at the driving range was Rick Shields, who also has a really big presence on YouTube. And, he was one of the first ones to start doing it. And his diary was by far the fullest. So I thought, why not give it a go? Why not start making YouTube videos? I don't actually think, before I made my first YouTube video and uploaded my YouTube video, I don't think I'd actually ever been on YouTube before. I think I uploaded videos before I even watched the video. It was kind of like a weird way around. And I did that for a few months, started to get lessons in off the back of the videos, and thought, this is good. This might work. Started making a few more. And then there's one video that we made, which I'll always remember it, because we did a course vlog. So it was 9 holes. Me and Rick, we went to play at a place called the Mere, which is a course around Manchester. And in my mind, I was like, if I make a coaching video on fixing a slice, I understand why people will watch that. I'm Jeff. I have a slice. I want to fix it. I'll go on YouTube. I'll look at this video. I'll fix my slice. If I don't fix my slice, I'll go in and get a lesson. It made sense. It made sense to me. We did this course vlog, and I was like, well, why are we making a course vlog? Who is going to want to watch 2 pretty average PGA professionals play around a wet golf course in the northwest of England in like October or whatever it was? And we released it, we put it out, and it did really well. Like, loads of people watched it, loads of really positive comments. And it took me a while to kind of understand that making videos like that, people will watch YouTube and watch golf content to be entertained, not just to get information. And it took me way longer than it should have to kind of realize the implications of that. But when I finally did, I was like, oh, maybe there's something else to this. Maybe it's not just about coaching. And that's what, 12 years ago now.
Well,
we've gone from there.
It's interesting, because looking back with the benefit of looking back in time, maybe it took that second death knock and all that stuff, say, this is not what I want to do. This is what I love. Yeah. And then you had just a little spark, and it ignited this fire. Listen, man, you're doing a great job. I look forward to seeing more of your videos, and keep doing them and entertaining. And also I'll listen to the podcast as well. I got to bounce because I got 36 holes today.
Yeah.
You can't be late. You know that?
No. I've got to go have a lesson to try and figure out my life. So I'm gonna go there instead.
All right. Peter Finch has been our guest here on Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. If you're looking for a drink alternative on the golf course, try a Party. If golf real estate is in your plans, nobody better than the golf real estate pros at suncoastdreams.com, a division of Fine Properties. Gene Walsh, Vince Fizzicaro, and Samantha Walsh got you covered. And if you're all tired from all that golf, go to BioLit Spa in downtown Sarasota. For Peter Finch, I'm Kevin Walsh. We'll see you again next time on Party Time, My Golf Story.
You've been listening to It's Party Time, My Golf Story, brought to you by Party Drinks. Classically designed golf drinks for golfers by golfers, and the golf real estate pros Gene Walsh and Vince Fizzicaro. For your Southwest Florida real estate needs, check them out at suncoastdreams.com or call 941-220-4000.